tired after one song, no, that is not normal. And it's not just because you don't have enough stamina. It's usually because there's something in your technique or habits that's working against you. But the good news is, most of this is fixable fast. So today's Reddit Sings Back question is basically this: why does my voice get tired after one song? And what do I do about it? It's not simply a stamina issue, and it doesn't just come with the territory of being a singer, but it doesn't immediately mean that something's wrong with your voice. We're touching on 5 reasons I often see singers run into trouble with fatigue. We're gonna fix them quickly with very simple tips. And don't worry, you are not alone in this. Why do you think I'm making a whole video? Reason number 1? Straining. So what does this sound like and feel like? Usually it's a tight throat, it's pushing, it's yelling to reach notes. Sometimes it'll feel like you've gone through a whole vocal workout just singing the chorus of the song. Some reasons why it may happen are singing just outside of your range, pulling your chest up way too high, not using your mix or not even placing the sound correctly, or skipping warm-ups. If it feels like you're pushing, you're already going too far. And the first thing you want to do is back off. Now, I understand that backing off might mean you lose some of your vocal power. The truth is, that power doesn't exist if you have to do all of that straining and pushing to make it happen. So what that actually means is you need to work on that in practice, maybe with your voice teacher, maybe just on your own when you're rehearsing, because what that turns into is the strain that stops you from being able to sing the full set before you're already tired. So it comes down to a choice. Do you just want to have a really great first song and then everything else go by the wayside? Or do you want to be able to sing the rest of your set or the rest of the show? Another trick of the trade is modifying your vowels at the top of your range. If you're going up to these really high, big notes, and you're trying to do them with these very tight vowels like E, you have to open up. For instance, if I am singing an E vowel, I'm going to open up to something closer to I or eh, because you can't take an E all the way up to the top of your range. And if you try it, you know. So what should you do? Open up the vowel. It's not going to sound like a different word. You'd be surprised how much we understand what you're singing, even when you change the vowel modulation just slightly. If you have to go to an eh instead of an E, we'll still know the word is me, even though it's going to sound like meh, or even may. And the last quick fix for this one is always warm up. Yes, I say it every single one of these videos. I will always say warm up. But yeah, warm up, please. For any show, for any practice, any rehearsal, before you sing extensively, even before you speak extensively, please warm up. Number 2, running out of breath. So this will show up as gasping between phrases or within the song. You'll have possibly an airier tone, and you might find that you're not able to sustain notes, or you're not able to sustain the sound at the ends of phrases. And this will often happen because you're losing too much air on your onset, there's no breath connection between your breath and your voice, or even just a shallow inhale. A couple quick fixes for this are deeper breath. So taking that low, deep, below the belly button breath that I talk about all the time, that lower breath, we want to practice it first and foremost so that it becomes muscle memory. And that way, when we're in performance, we're going to immediately take that low, deep breath every time we go to inhale. And with that lower, deep breath, we want to make sure those shoulders are not lifting. Again, we're really making sure that that breath stays stable and low. And we want a controlled onset. The onset is that first sound we make when we first begin to speak or sing. It's the initial sound. When we hear that sound unstable, oftentimes we'll start trying to fix things immediately because that first sound is already telling us something is not okay. What we want to do is practice that controlled onset. We have to practice what it's like to start singing on the breath, making sure that we are connecting the breath to the voice. So a part of that is taking that deep breath in and then trusting the breath to produce the sound. We'll bring the muscles in if we're not really sure what that first sound is going to be like. We start to trust the breath so that we can trust our voice. This all happens in practice. So make sure you're practicing that healthy onset so that when you're in the actual performance, you don't have to worry about thinking about it. It will happen. And you don't have to worry about not trusting your voice because it will happen. We want to make sure that we're not just blowing more air, but we're actually managing the air we're using. So when you take that deep breath, we're taking a good low deep breath. We're not moving the shoulders. We are thinking about vocal placement. We're putting the sound where it needs to go. And then we're trusting the air as we begin making sound. All of that is breath management that allows for safe vocalizing. Reason number 3, diet and hydration. Now, this is one that a lot of people ignore, but it matters a lot more than you think. Some of the common culprits are caffeine, which is a drying agent, not enough water, which is literally dehydration, acid reflux or LPR triggers, and LPR is laryngopharyngeal reflux. That's the reflux that a lot of times singers have. And allergy medications, which will also dry you out. And some quick fixes are, first and foremost, hydrate. Stay hydrated. Drink water throughout your day. A lot of times singers will start drinking right before they have a show or right before they do a concert or even like right before they practice or have rehearsal. But you should be drinking water throughout your day. It takes your body about 3 to 4 hours to hydrate your vocal folds after you take a drink of water. So if you're taking a drink of water right before you go on stage, it's not going to really affect you until after you finish the show. You want to make sure that you're staying hydrated throughout the day. Also, be aware of your trigger foods. So if you deal with acid reflux or LPR, there are certain things you want to stay away from so that they don't flare those things up while you're singing. For instance, if you enjoy pizza, you know you can't have pizza before a show because tomato will set off acid reflux or LPR, and dairy can actually cause mucus to overproduce. In so many ways, you want to stay away from that. So you have to pick and choose what you're willing to risk if you want to have a clear and resonant voice for your show. And staying away from trigger foods for LPR or acid reflux is the best thing you can do, and one of the easiest things you can do. Also, something that helps is steaming before you sing. Something I will do is warm up in my shower so I can get the steam on my vocal folds. Because when you drink water, like I said, it takes about 3 to 4 hours to hydrate your vocal folds with water because it has to go through your bloodstream and all of that. But when you use steam, it can actually touch your vocal folds because the molecules, the water in the air can actually touch your vocal folds. If the water you drank actually touched your larynx, you would be drowning because your water would be going down your windpipe, your trachea. So we can't have water there, but you can have steam there. So you can utilize steam to moisturize your vocal folds. Reason number 4, over singing, especially live. What that can look like is you pushing to be heard over your band, singing louder than you ever practice, and your voice feels fine in rehearsals, but then every time you sing live, it gets tough. And it often happens because either you have really bad sound equipment, which can happen a lot when it comes to live singing, or you can't hear yourself, which can sometimes be a part of the whole bad sound thing, but sometimes it can just be a bad sound check. Maybe you didn't get a chance to really listen to the monitors, maybe you've never used an in-ear before and it's throwing you off, what have you, but you're not able to hear yourself well, so you begin over-singing to try to hear yourself better. And nerves. Nerves can make you start over-singing like you've never sung before. The first quick fix I'll say is sing like you do in your rehearsals or practice, even if you can't hear yourself. What you want to practice is what it feels like to sing the correct way. So you want to know that by muscle memory. Every time you practice, every time you rehearse, remember what it feels like to sing this way, so that when you're in a space or a venue that feels very different than where you rehearse, which is optimized for you to hear yourself well and sing well. Now that you're in a different kind of space, you might have to adjust. And that adjustment may mean ignoring what you're hearing and just singing the way you know how to sing the song. You have to kind of fight your ears and do what you know feels correct. Also, never compensate with force. If you can't hear yourself or you're struggling with some other thing, the last thing you want to do to make up for that is to push more and use more muscle. We have to figure out something else, but it can't be at the detriment of your voice. Another thing you can do is ground yourself before singing. Make sure that you are calm before you go on stage. And a lot of times, the thing that'll help with that is breathing. Just do some slow breathing. The breathing you're about to do on stage, the breathing you're about to do to sing. Really start practicing that low breath. It will automatically tell your nervous system we're okay, no need to fight or flight. We're okay and we're ready to go. This allows you to feel grounded before you pop up on stage and everything starts hitting you. So if you can find a way to ground yourself, to calm yourself before you go, using breath, which is going to help you in a moment anyway, then do that. And you will feel so much better and less likely to overproduce sound, to push, to behave in a way that you weren't doing before you got on stage. And you'll be less likely to be moved by your nerves, moved by the moment, moved by what's happening around you. That's a lot. You will walk on stage feeling ready to sing, stabilized, energized, and comfortable. Always know issues with your sound, issues with volume, issues with your microphone or anything like that are not voice issues. So don't try to fix them with your voice. And reason number 5, lack of rest. And what that can look like is not enough sleep, quite simply, talking all day before you sing or talking all day before your speaking engagement, and back-to-back vocal use, like show after show, doing 2 shows in a day like a lot of times we do for theater, or doing several shows back-to-back every night for several weeks, like if you're on tour or anything like that. What's usually happening there is that your vocal folds are swollen, and swollen folds equal a tired voice, equal inefficient vibration, which is an unstable sound. Swollen folds also means that they are not coming together fully. The vocal folds are not closing fully. So that's when you have air escaping, so you'll have the husky sound, the hoarse voice, all sorts of things that happen when the folds are not fully coming to closure. How do we fix this? First, prioritize sleep before heavy singing days or even heavy speaking days. Also, vocal budgeting, which essentially means just be mindful of how you're using your voice on the days that you're going to be singing or on the days that you have a gig. Also, recognize when you can feel that your voice is already fatigued. There are telltale signs when your voice is tired, and you probably know them as well immediately. There's a way that your voice feels, there's a way your speaking voice sounds, all sorts of things that are saying, oh, my voice is tired. It's harder to even speak, it's harder to sing anything. When you recognize that your voice is tired, being mindful of that fact means you want to speak less, sing less, take extra care of your voice. Unfortunately, something I have found in my singing career myself is that you cannot out-technique a fatigued voice. When your voice is tired, it's tired. When your folds are swollen, they're done. So all you can do is manage around it and then leave them alone. Let the swelling go down with rest and then come back again once you've fully rested. So for a quick recap, these are the 5 things you want to look out for when your voice is tired: straining, breath, diet, over singing, and rest. So as you can tell, none of these things are you're not a good singer or something's wrong with your voice. It's all to do with management. Managing your time, managing your health, managing your voice. This is episode 5 of my Reddit Sings Back series, and it's the final episode. This has been such a fun series to do, and I really hope that I've been able to help more singers than just the R-singing community. And if you want more help figuring out exactly what's causing your vocal fatigue, absolutely reach out to me. I have my voice blueprint session, which is my 90-minute vocal assessment where we will go through all the aspects of your voice, figure out what's happening in there, and specifically if you're dealing with vocal fatigue issues, what we're gonna do is figure out why it's happening, and I can give you next steps on how to fix it moving forward so that we can get out of this constant cycle of fatiguing and being unable to sing a full set. And I also offer private voice coaching, which we can do weekly, which will also provide consistency and build your vocal stamina so you don't run into vocal fatigue. Even though this is the end of the Reddit Sings Back series, I will continue speaking about all voice issues and simplifying any voice problems that you may have. If you can think of other ideas, other questions, comments, and concerns that you have, please leave them in the comments below. All right, so thank you so much for swinging by, and happy singing! It's gonna be May. That's exactly what I'm thinking of.